So if you don't know what Tumblr is or what it used to be, then you very much missed out on the goldmine of NSFW content and the great theatrics of one of the biggest platforms without prompt shooting themselves in the foot with 12 gauge and going from a worth of $1 billion to unfortunately a significant less amount of only 3 million. Okay, 3 million is still a lot, don't get me wrong. But after being valued at $1 billion and going that far down to 3 million, it's basically like going down from your pink encrusted 10-inch butt plug to the 3mm defeater. Yeah, we already know you have infinite storage in that cave of yours. But anyway, back to Tumblr. It had one of the worst downfalls overnight, with one implementation the cause of it, and the platform themselves alienating their actual audience and the actual reason why people were on Tumblr, leading to a mass exodus from its audience, resulting in the platform today being somewhat of a ghost town, and very much a shell of what it used to be. And the other websites that voluntarily did not destroy their own business plan reaped the benefits from these refugees coming to new platforms. But anyway, today's video is about Tumblr and how it went all wrong, and how it went from the top of everything to an unimaginable demise, and in the last few years it has come to be obsolete and falling into irrelevance. But this video was suggested by this person. Yes, I'm not going to pronounce their name. I have a speech impediment called the British accent and do not want to give them the satisfaction of mispronouncing their name again. But first, why Tumblr? Why was Tumblr previously a Goliath in the social media space? Well, Tumblr launched all the way back in 2007, and it's worrying that most of you watching this video weren't even conceived yet. I'm talking to you, you baby Googa fuck. But Tumblr was very reminiscent of Reddit, where you could find a bunch of communities and create your own community for people that share your interest. They actually have a very active Viva Pinata community. Goddamn, this is a great app, I love this. Maybe we should give Tumblr another go. But Tumblr was very easy to use. Even if your brain had eroded away over the years and you only had a handful of brain cells, it had a very intuitive design and it was easy to post and make your post look good. And the main point of Tumblr was things like blogging. You know, the term no one uses anymore, unless you're a prehistoric animal. But you could also attach videos, images, and music to your posts, obviously relating to the community you're posting to. Now, we're going to do a little trust exercise here. I know you haven't trusted anyone since high school, since you told your best friend your secret and then they told everyone and you got bullied. It's not your fault you had a cum sock as hard as bedrock. But I want you to close your eyes and imagine your average Discord mod. Okay, close them, come on. Unless you're already blind. Think of your average Discord mod. Think of them in your head. Let that putrid aroma fill up that empty space in your cranium. Don't mind what I'm doing. Let that image alone turn your face into a grimacing mess just at the thought of a Discord mod being in your vicinity. Now use that face and the emotions you're feeling to fuel the surprise I'm about to tell you, because Tumblr users had 10 times the worse reputation. Most of it unfounded and an over-exaggeration, because as always, and I've said this so many times, it always takes a few bad apples to set the representation of a whole community. But how did Tumblr users get this bad rep? Well, if you've browsed the internet before, you may have come across some delusional people who crush over things like school shooters. That was happening on Tumblr, where you had a congregation of teens fantasizing and kicking their legs and feet, happily telling people how cute these people were that were convicted criminals and had taken many lives. All with the reasoning they look attractive or cute. Even to the point where they make fan art of them. So obviously all their crimes with those two factors means their crimes aren't that bad, obviously, right? You know, I loved the blonde twink Jeffrey Dahmer so much, but the crimes, yeah, obviously they don't matter. Because he was a young blonde twink. But one of the cases they would fantasize over was the Columbine school shooting. Obviously the two perpetrators of said massacre, which was Eric Harris and Dylan Klebold. But despite these two's heinous acts, they would be a point of infatuation for these teens, with examples of said posts being like this: "I wish Dylan's arms were wrapped around me. Heart emoji, hashtag columbiners, hashtag Dylan Klebold." They have their own group called the Columbiners apparently. "I think the only place I'll ever really feel complete is with Eric and Dylan amongst the stars. Heart emoji, hashtag Eric Harris, hashtag Dylan Klebold, hashtag Columbiner." If just reading that after knowing 15 people died, including the perpetrators, and 24 injured, most of which being kids, and you have no problem with what they're saying and even think, oh, I relate to this, please, for the love of God, check yourself into a psych ward and beg them on your hands and knees to give you a lobotomy with the rustiest tools available, riddled with tetanus. Because I don't think there is any fixing you. Now obviously, this wasn't the only thing that gave Tumblr a poor reputation, because you had a large cluster of communities on there, all with significant followings, and many of them NSFW at the time, with some of them containing the acronym for COD points, and a lot of it, which had a hand in one of Tumblr's worst decisions, leading to its demise. But we'll talk about that later. Let's talk about the map community. Now, I'm not talking about people that love the graphical representation of the world, or Christopher Columbus wannabes. I'm talking about the people that think if you're attracted to a miner, it's completely fine. The map community standing for Miner Attracted Person. Now, this isn't just a Tumblr problem, it is rampant on Twitter as well. But Tumblr at the time had a lot of teens on it. Some of these miners thinking that if someone was attracted to them who was significantly older, it would be fine, and they would publicly preach that it is fine. Even going so far to incorporate it into the LGBTQ and make their own flag of it. Obviously, when you have miners pushing this, you will have these people that are supposedly attracted to miners attempt to take advantage of the miners supporting them. And certain parties of the LGBTQ were pissed because their flag was being used for another agenda that also painted their community in a bad way as well, and they would start making posts headhunting the people with these flags as their pictures. Because it is distressing to know that Tumblr had a very big miner attracted person problem, and said people posting pictures of COD points. So much so, Tumblr was removed off the Apple App Store because of how much was posted, which apparently woke up Tumblr with how much of a NSFW hellscape their platform was. Because except for the topic I just discussed, just general NSFW content was all over Tumblr. Because Tumblr had a community for everyone.
Conservatively, what percentage of our platform is porn? 9%? 90?
If you like shoving metal forks down the tip of your penis, there's a Tumblr community for you. If you like to inflate your foreskin like it's a balloon, there's a Tumblr community for you. If you like to take your genitals and put it in the middle of a doorway and just start slamming that door on it, there is a Tumblr community for you. You depraved fuck. I bet even Gooning would have had a community by now. Even prompting an investigation by data scientists that some people on Tumblr were intentionally and unintentionally coming across rampant NSFW content to the point where they came to the conclusion that 50% of Tumblr was NSFW, and the overall conclusion that Tumblr users are very horny. So we come back to Tumblr losing it when it hears that its own platform is very horny. But a similar problem that most of its users are expecting this. But Tumblr was removed from the App Store. So instead of putting procedures in place to reduce the NSFW content and the, illegal NSFW content, like, I don't know, increased moderation maybe, they would attempt to remove all NSFW content by enforcing guidelines that any NSFW content was no longer allowed on Tumblr. This was enforced in late 2018 and decimated Tumblr's user base, because Tumblr was heavily known for its NSFW side, and it's arguable to say people only used it for the NSFW side, but there would be no backtracking. Tumblr already dug its grave and decided to lay in it. And many making the comment, Tumblr NSFW left a hole no other can fill. Nowadays, nobody really talks about Tumblr anymore. It is like he who must not be named, if everyone just got simultaneous dementia and forgot about it. But to my surprise, it still generates a lot of traffic from users, with 213 million being generated on the platform itself. And you can still find some NSFW communities and posts on it, but obviously it is not like in its heyday. The most you'll see is a curved nipple or two. Damn, even I missed out on the heyday. I think I was on Black Ops 3 at the time trying to redo the Horizon Jack Easter egg. But Tumblr had its downfall by removing one of the elements it was known for. By doing some good and doing its actual job and removing the illegal material, whilst simultaneously removing the non-illegal material. Now, Tumblr still does have some active communities here and there. Maybe I was being a bit hyperbolic when I said it was a complete ghost town, but people are still using it and contributing to communities. And I'd like to think all the NSFW content just went to Reddit anyway, because believe me, you can find a lot of things on Reddit, and it has technically become the new Tumblr. But that is the video, but I'm once again going to be disgraced by the YouTube gods when I say like and subscribe and the buttons don't light up, because YouTube just hates the British accent. But anyway, bye bye.